So you're live now. Councillor Coonan.
Right. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Handsworth Ward Forum meeting. I'm Hendrina Quinnan, the Councillor for Handsworth Ward and Chair of the Ward Forum. In our meeting tonight, we have the residents of the new Handsworth Ward. That's the people living within Soho Road, Rookery Road, Ox Hill Road, Church Lane, Hampstead Road, Holly Road and Villa Road. We have Neil DeCosta. Neil is our Senior Service Manager for Community Development and Peribar Neighbourhood Network Scheme Lead Facilitator. Neil will be giving us professional support as usual. Hi, Neil.
Good evening, Councillor Quinn, good evening, members of the public.
Hi. Leslie should have been with us. Leslie is the Community Governance Manager for North Birmingham, but she is not able to attend. And we have Aidan Hall, who has kindly stepped in her place. Hi, Aidan.
Good evening, Councillor Coonan. Good evening, everyone.
Hi. And we've got Robert. Robert, are you there? Hi, Robert.
Robert's not joined us yet, but should
Okay,
be
not
here
yet.
soon.
So we will be having Robert, who is the head of Landscape Practice Group and Development in Birmingham City Council. So he will be joining us later, hopefully. And we've got Mark Brown. Mark is the manager for Handsworth Health and Wellbeing Centre. Hi, Mark.
Hi,
Mark,
good afternoon, Councillor.
are you there?
Hello, public.
Right. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to advise that this meeting is being held in public and a recording will be available for public future record. You may be able to send your questions or comments using the question and answer function on your screen. And now could I invite Mark to give us the updates on Health and Wellbeing Centre. Mark.
Hi, right, okay, so we'll get straight into it really. Just before we closed in March, due to obviously the COVID pandemic, we had installed a brand new steam room that had been closed for nearly almost 18 months and was becoming quite a frustrating situation that we'd had, that we weren't able to run and operate it for our customers. But now there's a brand new facility that's there sitting and waiting. Unfortunately, still to date, it's now not open and in use, and that's because of the restrictions and the issues around the COVID-19 pandemic. But there's been a recent release that we are being told that we can now start opening up those type of facilities to the customers. But we have some other issues that I'll get into that are preventing us from getting to that at this moment in time. In addition to that, over the Christmas period, we had our sports hall floor refurbished. So it looks, most of the customers and everybody that were using those facilities during that time and that have come back are really pleased on the impact that it's had. It's much lighter and looks like it's kind of, much more for the purpose of what it's used for. We've had a new vinyl lino installed on the main staircase, and that was looking pretty tired. We had some restructuring work done to the steps. The nose cones had corroded and were they were quite badly in disrepair before we got to that point, so they've been done. Roof repairs is an ongoing saga with our main swimming pool. We've obviously, as you know, it's been leaking for quite some time, and obviously we were waiting for some other aspects to kick in that would have repaired that roof. That has obviously not happened. While we've been closed, we've had an inspection done on the roof to make sure that the structure of the roof is fine, because that was quite a concern. It is fine. We've had the reports back to tell us that it's only a visual state that it's in. Structurally, it's sound and won't collapse and fall on customers or any of the staff. And then we've had some, what I would call temporary repairs done to get us through the winter. But obviously we need to have a look at the roof repairs on that main pool as a long-term resolve, because it will obviously continue to leak and get worse again, to the point where we were shutting the middle of the pool off because it was like a shower. Literally the rainwater would pour in and then we'd have to close it off. So hopefully that, we haven't had the weather to test it at the moment, but hopefully we'll be able to see pretty soon. Currently, as an operation, we are open. We are open with a fitness gym and we're open with fitness classes. What we've had to do is to move those areas around. So the fitness classes are now delivered in the sports hall because the dance studio wasn't suitable with the social distancing that we need to meet the guidelines for. And the gym, the numbers have been reduced greatly, and the programs reduced greatly in the context that the sessions are only on an hour, and then there's a cleaning session done for an hour, and then there's another session done, and then it's cleaning, and they all follow each other in that kind of context. The swimming pools aren't open as of yet. We've had some issues over the closure where we had the tiles explode off the tank in the main pool. Quite a major issue. All those repairs have been done. The problem that we do have now is that we have a ventilation issue. It's an old building, and we're not allowed to open those facilities until we've had our ventilation work done with contractors, and that looks like it's to be cleaning and new filters in all the systems, because we have to meet the air circulation guidance that we can't currently meet. So we're not able to open the change rooms to get people through and into the pool space, and into the steam rooms and places like that because of that issue. At the moment, customers come, they use the facilities and they leave. There are no shower facilities or change room facilities. It's that arrangement that everybody within the leisure industry is following. And yeah, that's where we are currently at the moment. Hopefully we'll be able to take a few more steps once we get this ventilation situation under control with the contractors and people getting on with the work that we need to get them done. You're on mute.
You're muted, Councillor Quinnen.
Okay, thanks, Mark, for that. It's helpful to know what's going on in the centre. Are there any questions? Neil, are there any questions?
Sorry, Neil, you're on mute.
Neil, are there any questions on the chat box, on the Q&A?
Apologies all. There aren't any current questions in regards to Mark's update on the Q&A.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, then we will move on. We will move on. Thanks so much, Mark. You can stay, or if you like. And next, we've got Robert. Has Robert joined in now? Neil.
Yes, Robert has joined us.
Robert is there. Okay. Hello, Robert.
Hi. Sorry, there's a little delay. I was just trying to get connected. So I missed all the introductions, I'm afraid. So is it possible to? I don't know the gentleman on the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hi, Robert.
I can reintroduce them quickly for you. We've got Aidan. Aidan is stepping in for Leslie, who is not able to be with us tonight, and we've got Neil. Neil gives us professional advice and support in our ward forum meetings, and we've got Mark Brown, the manager for Health and Wellbeing Centre. Yeah, so I did introduce you in your absence, Robert, but I could again. You are welcome to Handsworth Ward Forum meeting, and you can explain briefly what you do in the council before you speak, but now I hand over to you.
Okay. I'll just check. Yeah, I've got my microphone. Yes, thank you, Councillor. I'm Bob Chern. I'm head of landscape development, and I sort of oversee the Section 106 monies that come to parks for enhancements of open space in the city, and I also supervise or run the landscape practice group, who are responsible for design and delivery and project management of external landscape schemes across the city. So, so we sort of like are able to engage with yourselves and the community, take ideas back and develop them into a project and deliver on the ground and manage the funding at the same time. So it's a sort of a one-stop shop, as it were. So you've asked me today to just talk about the 106 that's available for the ward, and in particular around Handsworth Park. So I can share a document now that I've just put together, which illustrates what we're looking at. Bear with me. Find it. Tell me if you can see that document.
Yes, I can see the.
Yes, we can see that, Robert.
Excellent, excellent. Right, okay. What I'll do is I'll try and zoom in, because sometimes I know it makes it a little smaller on people's screens. So let me see if I can come in a bit closer. Okay, right.
Yeah.
That's a bit, well, I don't know, that might be a bit too close, but there's a picture here of Handsworth Park, and in my discussions with Lee Southall Parks manager, and looking at the ward plan, there's 3 areas that we're sort of suggesting as options for expenditure of 106 monies, and the first one, which is something that we've been looking at for a while, is to try and do something about the appalling state of the upper lake and the smell and everything that comes off it in the summer, and trying to do something to enhance quality of water in the lake, which is the upper lake that feeds down into the lower lake. You've got like an ongoing problem there. So that was the first thing we've been looking at. The second thing that's come through is the potential for an outdoor gym area around near the Wellbeing Centre, which Mark's just been talking about. And there's a multi-use games area sort of in this area here, and there's potential for complementing that with an outdoor gym area for sort of healthy exercise. And then the third idea, which Lee has put forward, is the potential to enhance the sort of area around the woodland at the top site. They're already looking at putting in additional trees, and there's potential to enhance the meadows in this area, so some environmental improvements. And all 3 of those sort of fitting quite neatly with what's in your ward plan. So I'm hoping that the proposals will get some support. But we could do is we'd like to sort of tease out whether there's any other ideas that we haven't considered yet, and whether and what's priority, because we're not necessarily going to be able to afford everything, which I'll explain in a bit. There's a picture of the upper pool. As you can see, it's looking pretty murky. These pictures were taken some time ago, but it's changed much. There's a lot of silt building up from the brook, which is sort of, I suppose it's because there's quite a lot of illegal connections up and down the area that are feeding into the brook, and it's overspilling from the Severn Trent sump and filtration area, which is behind this bush that you can see here on the left hand side. And so, I mean, there's potential for it to look quite attractive. We've got Bandstand. There's a nice setting. Unfortunately, because of the material that's getting into there, it's often quite. Then, as you can see again, there is potential. There's a bit of wear and erosion bank, and in the middle there's an area. There's an island there that's overgrown. You can't see the sculpture that's. Then you get this build up at one end, where you get a lot of debris and litter thrown in, and safety thrown in. And it's a job to get it all out and keep it clean. And then you've got this bare side where water moves towards the end to get into to the lower.
Sorry, Robert, you're actually breaking.
Oh,
yes.
I'll tell you what to do, because I sometimes what they say is it's sometimes this mobility client that we have that can disconnect that and see if that's any better. Can you hear me now? Is that better, Councillor? Is that better, Councillor?
Yeah, that was fine, Robert. We could hear you more clearly.
Right. Okay. I forget to do that. Sometimes you have to switch your mobility client off to make yourself heard. I'm just going to zoom out again. This was the area where the current multi-use games area basketball court is, and there's a bit of space adjacent to that where it might be possible to put in an outdoor gym area to sort of complement what's happening there. So I just sort of indicated a location. We can look at that in more detail, find an appropriate spot for it, and then coming to the funding, we've got 4 accounts altogether that have got funds in there that we can use towards enhancements of the park. So we have the Hamilton School, East Handsworth Ward account, which is a long-standing account with no spend deadline, and we've been waiting to come up with a scheme that we can agree on to get delivered. So there's not been any urgency on that, but we're hoping to be able to put that into the pot. And then there's 2 key, what I would describe as urgent pots that need to be expended before the end of April. And these are Handsworth Close 106 accounts. So one is for sport and one is for public open space. And then you've got a more recent one that's coming, which is the Handsworth Horticultural Institute account from Oxhill Road, and we've got just shy of £40,000 for that one. So there are different spending criteria. The first 2 are for public open space and children's play, and the second 2 are for sports, recreational and community uses. Now there is some crossover because public open space and recreation, community use can be used for similar things. So we've got a little bit of flexibility there. So something like an outdoor gym would come under sports, recreational uses, but it could also perhaps be described as children's play. And then community uses, you can use that for improvements to public open space. So there's even though they're specific things, it's more to do with what's generated the money than exactly what you need, what you're able to spend it on. So we've got a total budget of 165,000, which sounds a lot, but it doesn't always go that far. So the options, we've got an opportunity to restore the filter system and desilt the upper pool to enhance its biodiversity and appearance, while the drainage engineers are working on the sump. Now, a separate project is our mains drainage are going to be doing some work on the sump, cleaning it out and getting it so it's not overspilling into the pool. Now, ultimately, the responsibility for that sump lies with Severn Trent, and so once that bit of work's been done, it'll be incumbent on Severn Trent to sort of maintain it. Now, getting them to do that is another thing. So that's a bit of an issue for us. But Nicky's saying that while he's got his contractors on site, if he could have some of the portion of the 106 money, he could go some way to using the same contractor to clean up some of the pool and remove some of the silt there. But we would need that followed up with an agreement with Severn Trent. They would have, keep up their side of the bargain, if you like, do their work some. The other thing is the outdoor gym, which I've mentioned, which we've done a lot of these, and they're quite straightforward to install. So you can put 3, 4 or 5 pieces of equipment in a sort of an area adjacent to the Yuga, and we probably have to put aside a little bit of revenue to support that, because anything we do extra, we have to find the money to support it. I'm getting a bad network quality. Is that okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Yes,
yes,
okay. We can hear.
Thank you. And then the other bit was this area that was been identified by the parks manager to the north of the site, and I think he's been working with the Trees for Life and friends, and there's a potential for doing some more work in that area, enhancing that with new trees and wildlife planting, wildflower planting. And then I suppose throwing it open to anything that's come through by you, Councillor Neil, from the community that they have suggested. And then the key date that we're looking at is that the 23rd of April. Now, the contract says contractually committed. So there's Section 106 agreement rather says we have to have money contractually committed. Now, we have spent a bit of the money already on doing some investigations. So we have spent some, so we're probably okay, but it would be good to get a chunk of it committed before that date, just to be on the safe side. But don't think that's too much of a concern for us. That I'll leave it there and throw it open to any discussion.
Right. I think I saw a question coming through. Neil, can you say? I think there was a question.
So the question that's come through from Barbara.
Barbara, yeah.
Well, is basically exactly where exactly the north of the park. I guess that.
Oh,
relates
okay.
to the
Can they
woodlands.
see what I'm showing? Is that they can't see what I'm showing, or?
Maybe if you could show again.
Yeah, if you would share your screen in terms of the map
Yeah.
that you originally put up, that would be helpful, I think.
Right. Okay. Now I'm fast disappearing into darkness here, I can see, but let me just find my see if I can find it again.
And I think while Robert's looking, Councillor Quinnan, that the points that I would make, it's really good that Robert's here, obviously, to go through the different agreements and the funding that's available, and the fact that obviously residents will really wanting to look at how the funding may be able to be allocated towards some of the ward priorities. So it's really good and helpful that you know, we have some potential projects which I suspect would need to be summarised and then sent to the people within the circulation. I would suggest Councillor Quinnan, you know, for them to come back with their views.
Yes.
But also I know that you know, both yourself and some of the residents wanted to know that within the scope of the agreement, whether there was any scope outside of the park in case there are any emerging projects or priorities that could potentially be considered. So, you know, those will be my only 2 points really, and to suggest that it might be a sensible thing to do, to just summarise any proposals that we have at the moment, put them out to people on the circulation with a deadline, you know, to come back with comments, and then that way you can proceed.
Yes. Robert, could you then respond to Neil on that?
Yes, I mean I can. I know that Icky's pressing me for an answer to see what he can include in his contract, but so yeah, if people can come back, say within a couple of weeks, that would be helpful, just so we get an idea of whether he presses ahead with what he's got to do now, or whether he waits for an answer on whether he can use some of that money. One thing I would say about the desilting work, it would take up quite a bit of the money, and it would not necessarily solve the whole problem, but it would improve things as a sort of an interim measure, and help us to sort of get on top of it. But it's until they start getting into the lake and start cleaning it out, they're never entirely sure of the volume of material and the overall cost of it to take it out. So that's just something to bear in mind.
Okay.
But yeah, I can put a little schedule together of what projects these 3 projects and a sort of a rough estimate of they might cost, and then if I get some feedback from everybody on what else is out there, just bear in mind it's got to be sports, recreation for the community, and for public and open space and children's play, because that's the legal parameters that we've got to work with. So anything on those lines.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, that would be helpful, because to be fair to members of the public and stakeholders, this is the first time they're getting the information. So yeah, you know, if you can do that, what I can do is liaise with Councillor Quinnan, put some deadlines for comments, and then proceed in that way, I think, Councillor Quinnan.
Yes, Neil. Just another question. I think in our plan there were also some views of having a tennis court. What is the chance of having a tennis court as one of the projects, Robert?
I don't know if Mark's still with us, but we talked about this some time ago, and the problem with the tennis court is We've done some tennis court refurbishments, and it's costs about £40,000 per court, and that's when we've already got quite a bit of the infrastructure in place for tennis. So to build a new tennis court is quite an expensive process, and then we need to find money to maintain them. And again, that is a bit of a problem. You've got to sort of put money aside for the revenue to keep them maintained. So whether there could be some sort of arrangement with the Wellbeing Centre over that, I don't know, but it's quite a sort of an investment, if you see what I mean. It needs to be managed going forward. So whether that's through some charging mechanism or not to sort of to pay for that maintenance, I don't know, but it's not straightforward, if you see what I mean.
But looking at the park, do we have like a space for it?
I think we talked about, just going to zoom in, just before I forget, the area for the woodland area, I think was up here, up north of the cricket ground. So there's a woodland here, at the top of the side. Is that Holly? I can't remember the name of the road up here, but it was all this area in front.
Okay.
So extending the wood southwards.
That's helpful, because a member of the public was had just mentioned that there's a planning application that's been submitted for a new house at the corner of Hinstock Road. So that's the reason why it was mentioned. So thank you.
So is that in here? Is that here around here, Hinstock? The corner?
Where are you? Yes, it is.
In my area.
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Just about there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think it would affect that.
Right. Yeah. So if I understand you well, Robert, you're saying yes, there is a space for this project of tennis court, but
I don't know. No, I've not said that yet. I've not. I was going to have a.
There could be.
I was going to have a look. I was going to zoom in.
I think, Councillor Quinn, and if you don't mind, because I'm really conscious of time, and also residents are concerned that at 6:30 there's the mini conference for PRS. Yeah. So I think, as Robert has suggested, if there are any suggestions as for projects, if they could be forwarded, and then it would make sense then to explore whether they're feasible or not when we have more opportunity to do that outside of tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, Neil. Okay, can I thank Robert again for coming and giving us this update. So we do know now what is in the pot, and then as Neil, as you are suggesting, Neil, we will be taking it from there. Okay, is that agreed with? Is that all right? Should we go that way, Neil?
Yeah, it's for Robert. I mean, thanks very much indeed. That's really helpful. And if you can send a summary of the projects that have been suggested today and an approximate deadline that would work for you, what we will do, we will circulate that to residents and stakeholders for comment, but also to comment. Now we have a bit of detail in regards to the scope of the agreement for any additional projects, and then Landscape Practice Group colleagues can then just make a advise on what's feasible or not, I think.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Robert, for your presentation. You are welcome to stay if you wish, but we're gonna move on now to the next item 5, which is councillor updates and any urgent business. So firstly, we have received the police report. So I'm going to ask Neil if you can first read the report, and then I will be giving the councillor updates thereafter. Neil.
Okay, what I'm going to try and do is to share the police update, if I can find it. Oh, just bear with me. I do apologise. The print is very, very small on my screen. So can you see that, Councillor Quinnen? Just so I'm clear that it's showing.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so but before I do, some members of the public have requested to know how many people are logged into the meeting. Just to say that unfortunately we can't tell you that at the present moment in time, but we do have a report that's downloaded after the meeting. So for those of you that are interested, we can let you know the numbers after the meeting. Okay, so Sergeant Stanley kindly shared this update, just to say that it's not ideal that you know, our police colleagues obviously aren't able to update themselves, and we're looking at an IT solution to enable them to do that. Something to do with the council's firewall and also the police network as well, but we are seeking to do that because it's not ideal, me providing the update. So I'm going to read it anyway. So you can see, I hope that you are all safe and well, and I hope that we will at some point get to meet again in person at a Ward Forum meeting. Obviously, in terms of COVID-19 restrictions, that's not possible at the moment. So hence the reason why we've got this virtual format. So COVID-19 has had a massive impact on all of our lives and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Please adhere to the laws and the guidance relating to our Tier 2 restrictions. We all need to play our part in order for these restrictions to ease, but more importantly, to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe from this deadly virus. If you are aware of any COVID-19 breaches within the neighbourhood, please report them by calling either 101 or via the web chat using the West Midlands Police website, so we can have the addresses and also the issues as soon as possible. You may be aware that during the summer, Operation Reliant was running in order to tackle unlicensed music events, commonly known as illegal raves or stack parties. Due to the negative impacts of these events have had on our communities, not in an antisocial manner, but also putting the attendees and anyone in the vicinity at risk of COVID-19. This operation is currently ongoing and will continue to address any of the events taking place. As I write this piece on Saturday evening, I'm aware of a number of officers across the force that we are working tonight in order to shut down such events and prosecute where deemed necessary. Again, I reiterate, if you're aware of any such events taking place, please make sure West Midlands Police know about it so we can act on your information and keep the community safe. There have been a spate of burglaries across the ward in recent weeks. We have arrested a male and charged him with a number of burglary offences, and he is due back in court next month. This does appear to have stemmed the number of burglaries in the area. As the darker nights are already upon us, please ensure that we are locking our doors and our windows and are making our home secure to deter any would-be criminals. If you require any further advice about this, please email, and the email address is there, and we're quite happy to forward this on to yourselves as well. Please do not use this email to report crime, and instead go through the proper channels, so that they were the channels that were mentioned earlier. Multi-occupied houses, or HMOs as they're commonly known, are a concern for local residents and are difficult for the police to resolve alone. We have begun joint working with Birmingham City Council HMO licensee. whereby we have already attended a number of premises in the area conducting safety checks and housing checks. A number of actions have come from those visits that landlord/management companies are being required to take positive action. We have also been working with management companies of certain premises where issues have been identified. This work is ongoing and we hope to make continuous improvements. We have increased our presence on Soho Road to tackle issues relating to drug dealing, prostitution, street drinking and begging. In the 2 weeks since we have increased our patrols, the area is looking a lot better and we have engaged with a number of individuals requiring our help. We have executed a number of warrants in the area and will continue to do so. Most of our warrants are only possible as a result of the community intelligence, that we receive and act on. If you see anything suspicious in your area, please call us in confidence. Alternatively, you can call Crime Stoppers and the information will come to us for review. As I have already mentioned, I hope that we can meet again soon in person and we have the Ward Forum meetings running as they used to. In the meantime, please keep yourselves and your families safe. Kind regards, Sean, and that's Sergeant Sean Stanley.
Yeah, thank
Is
you.
It okay, Councillor Quinnen?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you, Neil. We can look in the Q&A to see if the people are posting any questions there, because then if you have got any questions from what has been said, you can post your question there and we will make sure that the question is forwarded to Sergeant Stanley. Right.
Okay, I'm just having a look through the Q&A, Councillor Quinnen, at the moment, just to see whether any have come in. Where are we? So residents would like to know what is happening with the now vacant site at the corner of Church Lane and Grove Lane, which was a branch of the co-op up until a few weeks ago. So sorry, it's not related to community safety issues, but that one has been asked, Councillor Quinnen, and also a question about more prompt removal of fly tipping, but we'll come to that at an appropriate time within the meeting. Yes.
Right, where are we? Okay, so yes, we will deal with the two questions at the end once I've given this report. As you might know, our ward priorities and action plans are available on the council's website to view. And I again thank everyone who participated in writing that report. Now we have got our ward plan that we can refer to, and since that ward plan was finalized, as we know, there had been some changes. So it's not rigid. We will be going forth and backwards, but we are working on it already. Due to COVID-19 and the lockdown, there are changes in the way we work. Face-to-face interaction and meetings are still not possible. We must all adhere to the government guidelines. I receive many queries and most are about the types of housing provision that is permitted and planning applications, fly tipping, especially in some alleyways, junctions and footways. Lack of suitable homes is an issue. As a result of the issues raised about exempt accommodation, HMOs and private rented sector, we are having another online mini conference with the private rented sector department of the council, and that Neil has already mentioned that it's starting at 6:30. So we will be going to that. I hope you will be able to join in there as well. And if there are any updates, I know that we have received we have received an email from some people asking about reports from waste management. That's fine. So if you can also post it here so that everybody can see, and we can have an agreement on what to bring on the next ward forum is our agenda. So please send your post of what you would like us to have on the agenda next meeting. So far I have not been notified about any urgent business. Right, so we can take the questions now. We can look at those questions about the co-op. You want to know what's happening on co-op. Neil, have you received anything so far?
No, Councillor Quinn, I know that you've logged it. At the minute, the way that it stands, there's not much that the council can respond on until such time as there is any expression of interest for the use of the site. But I know that you've logged it in terms of the relevant department to see whether there are any queries to date, and we'll update residents, or you will update residents as soon as you know. But the point is, it's just the importance of continuing to register residents' concerns about any potential use of that site, particularly if it kind of relates to any property of multiple occupancy, etc. So yeah, I don't have an update, but I know that you've flagged that.
Yes, I have. Okay, thank you for that. All right, so next is the date of future meetings.
Councillor Quinnen, sorry, Councillor Quinnen,
yeah.
if you don't mind, I'd just like to respond to a couple of comments that have come in regards to the use of Zoom, because residents are asking for a more interactive format, and obviously Zoom is kind of a familiar virtual platform that is commonly used. Now, as a rule, in terms of ward forums, the council has decided to utilise Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Teams Live. We are aware that residents and stakeholders would like more interaction, so it's just to let residents know that we'll take comments back from today's meeting and we'll have a further discussion about how we can do that, because I do know that colleagues and other departments within the council, such as the mini PRS conference that's taking place this evening, have purchased licenses, if you like, to kind of offer the Zoom option. So because it's been raised, we need to go back and raise that. And also, Councillor Quinn, I'm not sure whether you want to say anything about the the more rapid removal of fly tipping, but what I would just state is the fact that our waste management colleagues are fantastic, and they do support us and considerably well, whether Councillor Quinnen receives queries or whether I do. They are inundated at the present moment in time, and one of the other issues that we have as well is if the fly tipping is on private land, because kind of different rules apply, whereby the council has to seek to get evidence of the fly tipper, so it does actually take a little bit longer. But I just wanted to reassure residents that we do log the issues, whether they're coming to myself or Councillor Quinnen, and I know that it's being raised internally as to whether we can speed up that process, because obviously it's absolutely horrendous for the residents that have to suffer it, really. But just to say that it is a citywide problem, particularly in certain areas, you know, and it does put, you know, undue pressure on the service. Not making excuses, but, you know, trying to reassure that we are absolutely trying our best. Thanks, Councillor Quinn. I just wanted to make those points.
Okay, thank you, Neil, for that explanation. Item 6, it's the future meetings. So we've got a provisional date, which is 26th of January 2021. So on that note, I thank everyone who has managed to join into this meeting, and it's not easy, but we are trying, as you could see. So okay, now Neil, if there are no other questions.
Councillor Quinlan, and there aren't any further questions that have come in. I'm just going through them at the present moment in time. But just to raise, and I don't know how appropriate it is for Handsworth ward, but in other wards, I know that councillors have set up kind of separate meetings outside of ward forums just to discuss hot topics or issues. So that's something that you might want to consider. And I think that some of the residents had actually highlighted the fact that there wasn't a lot of time for this evening's meeting. So it might be something that you might want to consider and set up outside of the ward forums. I'm just making that suggestion.
Yeah, okay, we can look into that as we are trying to get our hands on these new technologies. Okay, thank you for that advice, Neil. So if I'm just looking to see if there's anything, I can't see anything through. Right, I think then we can close the meeting so that we can get ready to join the one about the HMOs, because this is concerning. So it would be helpful if we could go there and hear from private rented sector what the regulation says now. Can I thank everyone who has managed to join us at this meeting, and then we close the meeting. Thank you.